Hello, good morning, everyone. So let's get into the session. So right, myself, Suman, and I'm going to handle this workshop for today and tomorrow. And this is what about quality thought. So we are about 13 years into the market, especially in the training industry, and we have accommodated or trained about 40,000 students and placed more than 14,000 students in startups and including MNCs, the multinational companies. Okay, so currently we are offering the below programs at Quality Thought. So one is the course only training program, the usual traditional method, so which holds a 2-hour session per day. And the other one is JOIP. It's a job oriented intensive program. It's a 6 hours per day session. And JOIP premium, it's a straight away the company internship program, which resembles a real-time work experience for you. And the JGP is a job guarantee program, which is a conditional offer program. So when a company, so any of our affiliates or the partners or the clients seeks for resources with a special skill set, we groom them and we deliver them at the company sites. That is a JGP program, and it has a limited offering seats. So if you just explore our Quality Thought website, you'll be knowing more about our courses and our products, what we are doing or what we are selling. And this is about me, and I am a professional certified ethical hacker. I'm a certified computer hacking forensic investigator and EC Council certified incident handler, and also a PCI DSS, which is a payment card industry, and DSS data standards, okay, security standards from Cybrary IT. And I'm also a trained CISSP professional from ISSS Chennai. And I hold 12 plus years of experience into IT and 10 plus into purely information security. And since my career, I started teaching, so either directly or indirectly, either one-on-one or groups, or I have been part of national-wide training in my first organization, HCL, and trained about 350 candidates, regardless of their experience. That's about me. So let's start. What do you understand by the slide? Do you have any information from Google regarding all these terms? Passwords, crackers, spyware, cyber, codes, encryption, security. So do you have information from Google like this about all these terms? No? I believe most of you have it. If so, give some space to cybersecurity workshop, what we are going to discuss. If you have anything else in previously, kindly empty your brains. Okay, so if you want to learn something new, if you have something with a random information and unclear about what you are going to learn, just empty it, trash it. We shall start it freshly so that we go in a single and straight path. Got it? Chalo then. So before we step into our core content, let's see few stats about the data breaches or how it is affecting. If you look at here, this is the average cost of a data breach worldwide, and these are the older stats, not the current stats. With respect to, so these are the average cost or data breach stats from a couple of years, so which is not very latest one, so last year's, from between May 2022 March 2022. So this is by industry area. If you look at there, healthcare, financial are the top domains among the data breaches. Okay, and followed by pharma, technology, energy, services, and industry. So, what are the reasons for these cyber attacks or data breaches? So, one side we are having the most information what criminals, which means the cyber criminals are seeking for, and the other side you see the top threats or attacks what criminals are trying to steal or what methods they are using. Okay, this is the data and this is the method. Okay, the customer information is the top among all the information, right? So whereas we in organizations think about financial information or any product information, but in common majority of the information theft happens only about customer information, which means RPIA. Okay, what is PII means? Personally identifiable information. So we'll discuss in further session. Sorry, going forward. And these are the techniques from the other side what cyber criminals use, and we can call as these are the threats what are prone to by the users or for the users. So the phishing is a top, so it's leading since the beginning. Okay, so any form of attack, right, any form of attack, phishing is a key thing. Okay, that's the common thing since the inception of hacking. It started and it's still being the leader on the board of cyber threats. So the agenda for this today's session will be about these 10 areas, and 11th is Q&A or interview career session. So first we'll try to understand what internet is and what information is, and then importance of cyber security, information flow and security issues, intruders and viruses, evolution of malware attacks, attack types, intrusion techniques and detection, importance of security controls and security intelligence, cyber kill chain, and jobs by role in IT security. Okay, this will be the agenda for this 2-day workshop. Okay, so what is cyber security? Any idea? Any idea, folks? What is cyber security? Online? I have given you the answer on the screen.
Securing the cyber attack.
What is cyber?
Like an online information theft and everything.
Pretty good. Any other answers? Okay, so that's close to the answer, but I would say cyber security means it is nothing but the protection of interconnected or internet connected devices. So which is simply the securing internet devices. Okay, so the cyber security aims at protecting the interconnected systems, which means the hardware, the software, and the data what we store on that or what we access from that. Okay, so the data at rest, data at transit, and data at use. These are the 3 phases of data where we are using by software and storing on the hardware. Okay, so the goal of cybersecurity is to protect in these 3 phases at wherever it receives from cyber threats. So it does require the use of people, which means the technical expertise guys, right, and the process, the procedures, how to protect it from threats, and the technology. So with the help of some technical tools, that's what it requires. And the products, network devices, programs, personal, financial. So this is from the data point of view where we are talking about the programs or the network devices or the personal information or financial information and any other sensitive data being accessed, right? Being accessed, changed, modified by an unauthorized user. Okay. So who is an unauthorized user? If I am accessing your mobile, I'm an unauthorized user, right? I don't have any right to access your mobiles. If you are accessing yours, that's yours. So you are always authorized and accessible to it, right? So whoever is not intended or not supposed to handle the information for any asset is simply the unauthorized user. So why do we need it? Why do we need it? I mean, the cyber security. Why do we need it? So what is the importance of cyber security? So these are the 4 common or the top reasons why we have chosen or why we should choose cyber security. Okay, for the protecting technology techniques. So the first and primary goal is always the financial goal, right? Why do hackers hack some organization or people? Ultimately, the malicious intention or the negative intention is to gain some financial benefits, right? So that's the reason, and that is being always the top among these reasons. Okay, the financial and the reputational damage. The other side is reputational damage. Why is the reputational damage? Do you understand by reputational damage? So degrade one's fame, either their business, their popularity, or if you see at the politics, that is purely about the position and opposition, faming and defaming, right? And even the stardom. So this is all about the reputational damage. And also, if you look at the organizations also, so that is one of the reason where we should primarily focus on financial and reputational damages. Got it? And the other thing is obviously about the data loss, right? If you lose the data, you will lose the business. If you lose the business, you lose your money, which means the revenue or the economy, right? So that's been the second thing. And then remediation. Remediation means it is the action what we take on the threats. If you are impacted or if you are infected, so what type of substitutes, or before getting it affected, what are the preventative methods you are taking care of? Okay, it costs a lot. Okay, if you exceed your preventing techniques or technologies, okay, rather than the revenue what you get or the business what you get from your other sources of income or the business, right, it will exceed a lot. And cybersecurity, people think there is no revenue or it does not bring business to the organization. Okay, and the legal impact. So here comes the final piece, but always the first piece what we have to also consider. Legal piece is something depends upon geolocation. So for example, we are not concerned about our Aadhaar cards or PAN cards being disposed in any of the photocopy machines, right, or shops. But in terms of US, California, and UK, right, and Canada, if you dispose that something like that, you have to follow some CCPA Act like California Consumer Privacy Act. If you go to UK, you have to look at the GDPR Act, right? So there is a Consumer Privacy Act where you have to take care of your information, and the vendor who is using your data should also take care of your information. Okay, so if that is being misused, which means without your consent, if he shares to a different person or if he sells to a different BPO services or something like that, he has to bear the situations, financial or damages or any other cases what they have to face legally will have to be faced. So that is one more thing where you have to look at the legal side or the legal piece in terms of importance or priority what you give for cyber security. Okay, now what is internet? What is internet? We all know internet, but we don't know what is internet.
Interconnection of devices to share resources.
Reading the same?
Reading the same, no.
Oh, rephrase or paraphrase it.
No, actually, I didn't see only now. I see that you have
No,
written.
I was kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, it's about the interconnected device or the communication between the connected devices, right? So how are we able to communicate with the world by just connecting the devices? How? Do you know how are we getting internet from? Is that from satellites or from where are we getting this internet? Any idea? We all use mobile data, we use broadband services, we use all the data plans on XYZ, right? So do we know actually where this internet is coming from? This is being connected with multiple countries. Now we are using wireless, right? Now we are using wireless, but is it really a wireless thing? Is it really a wireless thing? Let me show you a fact.
No.
Yeah, good one. Let me show you one fact. You see this? This is, let me get some clear pic. Okay, I think this is visible. This is how the cabling has been underwater from country to country. Each country has its own local storage. You know the drinking water supply from Krishna River, right? Or Godavari River. So we collect all these waters from flowing source to local reservoirs. From there, we deliver it to each mandal or district or villages with the help of all the tunnels. And we store them locally by the capacitance of the population, right? The network or the internet is also being carried in the same way, which is delivered from US, right? Since its inception from the army team, right? US Army team, we have been connected with multiple cabling and different sources from different areas, and that's been grabbed or that's been shared among the countries underwaters. So this is the clear pic of that. If you look at here, these are the tunnels and these are the service engineers, the professional divers come the service engineers who goes or who dives into the underwater and does the service activities if something goes wrong. Okay, so this is how the underwater cabling happens and how we are getting internet. So majority of the people think since we are having mobile wireless, we are getting internet from satellite, right? So locally to locally, we are being transmitted or we are just getting these transmitted communication or wireless within the given range. Okay, you have a Bluetooth or your Wi-Fi, right? What is the range of it? Around some 50 meters or 20 meters. Based on the capacity, it extends, right? Similarly, the mobile towers, the range, it's not directly from the satellite. And we have the cable connection. And to minimize the cabling, we are using the regional stations or substations to enhance our productivity. Got it? Got it? Okay. So what is information? Generally, we start with the data. We directly go on to information. So information is nothing but all the data or the knowledge what we have, right? Information is not intelligence, right? Information is one of the key to develop your knowledge and your knowledge will give you intelligence. Okay, people think by birth I'm an intelligent guy or he is an intelligent guy. But trust me guys, intelligence can be built if you have information. పుట్టకతో మనం జ్ఞానవంతులం కాము, జ్ఞానం ఉన్నవాళ్ళం కాదు, విజ్ఞానులం కాము. ఓకే, కానీ జ్ఞానాన్ని సంపాదించుకోవచ్చా? తెలివితేటలు, ఐ మీన్ తెలివి వెళ్ళేవాడు వేరు, జ్ఞానం ఉన్నవాడు వేరు. ఓకే, వాడికి జ్ఞానం లేదు, తెలివి లేదు అంటారు కదా. కానీ మన దగ్గర ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఉంటే ఆటోమేటిక్గా జ్ఞానం వస్తుంది. ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అంటే సమాచారం. ప్రతి విషయం గురించి క్షుణ్ణంగా వివరంగా మనం తెలుసుకుంటే ఆ సమాచారం అనేది మన దగ్గరికి వస్తే అప్పుడు మనకి జ్ఞానం పెరుగుద్ది. జ్ఞానం పెరిగితే అది ఎక్కడ వాడాలి, ఎలా వాడాలి, హౌ టు యూస్, వై టు యూస్, వెన్ టు యూస్ తెలిస్తే అదే తెలివి. దట్ ఈస్ ద ఇంటెలిజెన్స్. ఓకే, అంటే చాలా మంది ఏమన్నారు, పుట్టకతో ఉన్నదే, లేకపోతే వాళ్ళ పేరెంట్స్ ఇది, వాళ్ళ జీన్స్ ఇది, అందుకే వాడు తెలివైనోడు ఇది ఇది అనుకుంటారు. ఏం కాదు, కష్టపడితే తెలివితేటలు మనం కూడా బిల్డ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. I mean guys, if you do your hard work and present it smartly, we also can be smart enough and intelligence. Okay, getting back. So information is data or knowledge what we have. So the information where we are having. So in terms of our internet or computers, we are talking about all the devices which use internet, especially the computers, mobiles or IoT devices. So consider IoT devices like anything, your fridge, your AC, your fridge, your AC or your cars, right? We have now all Wi-Fi connected or internet working devices, right? Even your Ola S1 Pro, the scooters or your cars with the internet, especially MG Hector Intel inside, sorry, internet inside, right? And how does the information flow? How does the information flow? We haven't ever seen this, right? How this information is being flown from place to place or face to face, right? Place to place, which means I am or everyone have got your own mobiles in your hand. You search for something in Google, it's bringing to you. Where is it going? What is the request you have given? And how does the response comes? So it has to travel, right? It has to travel to location until it finds the right term or right search or what you are searching for and the right source for that information, and it has to fetch and reroute or retravel again in the way the request has gone, right? So if we have to divide it layer wise, this is how it looks: the physical space, the internet space, and this is how the information flows. So this is invisible thing, and this is the access. This is what we are accessing, and this is the other side of what we are accessing. Okay, your mobile or your radio towers, your gadgets, whatever internet things or physical devices what we are using, and whatever the requesting data. So then to perform all these activities, so the information flow, this is what we are thinking that we are seeing and feeling, right? The information. So for example, all your Facebook data or WhatsApp data or your whatever the data you are having in your mobile, whatever you are browsing through or whatever you are transferring through, we think that we have it physically. We have the device physically, not the information physically, right? And we think that information is stored in our only mobile. No, when it is traveling, it has to sit in multiple what do you say, multiple sites. Let me give an example. You guys travel to cities, right? Multiple cities. We have local traffic cameras. You travel on the roads, you wait for the signals, right? You think you are going from your source to destination, but the thing what it is happening behind the screen is you are being part of each camera recording. That means your image is captured by each camera in the route where you are traveling, right? Similarly, the information from your source, which is your mobile device or your laptop, or your desktop, so whatever it may be, from that source to the destination or the server where you are requesting, or what you, the information what it is bringing back to you as a response. All the travel phases, it captures the snap of your information. Okay. So this information is again collected or reused if that information is grabbed by an attacker, which means the cyber criminals, right? You don't need directly to be a victim, or you don't need directly a cyber criminal hack your mobile devices or your laptop devices. You all are using Flipkart, Amazon, right? Obviously, if I go to Amazon and get some data, I'll get all the users of Amazon, right? I don't need to go to hack only Krishna for getting your bank details or your phone pay details. I'll get a bunch there, right? So that is how wherever you are traveling, or your information, I mean, your information is traveling. So there is a copy of it and we don't see at it. So that is the chance where the cyber criminals take a part or step in and grab the opportunity to hack you and make use of it. The other side, this is from the cyber side or cyber criminal side. The other side, if I say something, Google is also doing the same thing on you. Do you believe?
Yes, sir.
Right? Whatever the search you do, it gives in an ad. Wherever you search, it shows you in your ad, whether you are streaming, whether you are exploring, or you're browsing, right? How? Wherever you go, if you are passing nearby a familiar restaurant, how was the food, right? If you walk through any shopping mall, how was the mall? Kala possible. Business. Google ads is being given to them, right? So this is completely about marketing. So Google ads business. So these guys register for the business, ad business. So same like Just Dial. You reach to Just Dial, right? It is an independent organization where consumer or the user seeks for a service. He immediately shares it to all his customers or all his clients. Actually, we are the customer and they are their clients. So he will share it with them. Whoever is first, he will come. So whoever, if we are using it, they will be paid. So the same thing happens in terms of internet among Google and others also, Facebook or Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, Tata, and other sources, whatever the e-commerce or the Pinterest, and even now the educational academies, any organizations, right? If you are searching for a best familiar college, when with no time, it will show you based on the south region or the city, the top colleges or schools, right? Based on your search, it will facilitate. So that's the thing. So intruders and viruses. What is an intruder, or who is an intruder? Do you know the meaning of intruder? Very simple. The guy who is stepping inside without our permission. We have a campus or we have our own house. If someone is trying to or attempting to step into our campus, or our compound without our permission is trying to intrude, right? And without our permission, as well as trying to do some malicious or something suspicious activities. Okay, whereas virus is a malicious program. What do you mean by malicious program? I believe you did not understand, few guys. We have virus in life sciences, right? It is something, it is also a living being, right? Virus is also a living being, but it harms us, right? Other positive side is it benefits the nature. It benefits the nature, but it harms the human, right? Similarly, virus in the computers are nothing but they are a piece of software programs. They are not living beings. They are piece of software programs which actually were created by, again, the software developers, okay, to affect the services. Why does software developers develop viruses? That's the malicious intention, okay, which means the negative area, the dark side of a skilled professional. Okay, so that's the thing. So viruses are nothing but these are also a softwares, but they act everything negatively. Okay, so if you read through that, virus or malicious software programs that are designed to replicate and spread throughout a computer system. It does not sit in one site or one location on your system, but it spreads. So unlike intruders, this is not something like intruders, and viruses are typically not installed on a computer without the user's knowledge, but rather than they spread through downloads, emails, or other means of file sharing. Yeah, we suspect it, right? When our system or mobile performs low or when it responds slowly, my mobile or laptop has been infected with some virus. That's the thought what we instinctively get, right? Why? We actually don't know what virus is, but we still use the term virus and how it is. So viruses, basically, we think if it is not performing well, if our devices are not performing well, we think or we assume it is affected or infected with virus. Why? Because these harm or reduce or impact on your performances of your devices. That's the reason. So especially these are traveled by the means of downloads, whatever may be the download for your file sharing or emails, especially the clicks or attachments what you are having or what you are receiving. Okay, basically these can damage your OS or the applications and data, and especially so few kinds are made to gain unauthorized access. Okay, which means to get the access to your resources by the attacker. Okay, so these are a few intrusion techniques. So most of these lead to a denial of service attacks. Okay, denial of service, which means that this denial of service attack, which means making the services unavailable for the user. For example, we all know or we all have an experience of looking at results, right? Exam results. On the day of result, we will not get the results immediately. Why? Because if exam was written by 2 lakh students, the results were seen by 6 lakh participants, right? For each hall ticket, owner of the hall ticket, friends of the hall ticket, parents of the hall ticket, family members of the hall ticket, right? From different sources, we keep requesting the server to give me the result, give me the result, give me the result. This is the load. So it stops functioning if it is not balanced well to accommodate the number of requests, or to balance the load, what is the incoming load, what it is having. Okay. So if such thing happens from the negative side, then we call it as a denial of service. Okay, this is because of load of service, the example what I have given you. But if it is done intentionally by a cyber criminal or by an attacker on a particular service, then that is called a denial of service. So to impact or to execute that attack, these are few methods. So buffer overflow techniques. So buffer is some memory, okay, what we have it in the PC or in your mobile or your laptop, right? So it is filled with random data. Okay, so buffer has got so 2 MB or 3 MB or XMB information or XMB capacity of holding the data. What we do is we flood it, or we overflow it actually, which means if your cup can hold 250 ml, if I pour more than 250, what it does, it overflows, right? It can't take the load. It will hold only the 250 ml and it will pour back or overflows the excess value or excess amount of quantity what we are giving. Samely, the information or the commands what an attacker tries to perform is to fill that buffer value and to deny the services to the user. Okay. And the other technique is protocol specific attacks. These are like ARP, address resolution protocols, or internet protocol, transmission commission protocols, user datagram protocol, and the ICMP. These are the ping flow protocols. Okay, all these protocols can be spoofed or poisoned. Okay, you know the spoof meaning? We know, right? Spoofs of movies or some concepts, right? So this is something similar to the same thing, resembling the originality, right? So resembling the originality and doing harm to the services. So ultimately leading to the denial of service. Okay. And traffic flooding. So this is also a technique used by attackers by means flooding, flooding with the TCP flags. So we call them TCP flags. The push, sync, ACK, reset, all these are the TCP flags, and these will be flooded or flooded as a request so that the service gets denied. Okay. And the Trojans. You know the Trojans? Do you know what is a Trojan? Do you know the Trojans? The story of Trojans, Troy, Greek Troy, Trojan War, right? You know? Okay, so the name of the Trojan has come from that story, Trojan War. So actually there is a war between two kingdoms, right? And one kingdom has to surrender. So what they do, they say as a symbol of their surrenderance and peace, they gift the other side a wooden horse. Okay, but the huge wooden horse accommodates entire army of the other side, and these guys step into the as a gift. These guys step into the Greeks, I think, right? And their kingdom, and they come out of that and they just smash that kingdom. So the moral or the core point of this story is they make them believe this is a genuine thing, but behind that there is something backstabbing. right? The Trojans also act or they look like the original or legitimate files which we need to process or which we need to access. But it may consist of a malicious intention behind. Okay, it may tries to steal your credentials, spy you, harm you, or any type of malicious or malware programs or malicious actions it can carry out. Okay, so Trojans has that capacity, so that is why called as Trojans. Okay, other form of techniques. And the worms are the standalone computer programs we say. So these are actually replicates itself from place to place by the name of worm. We know worms, right? Just crawls on the floor and they do not sit at one place. They crawl slowly across the surfaces. By the same, these worms also alter themselves. They just spread across the system and across the network also. Okay. So this is the evolution of malware. Since 1988, the Morris worm. That's the first thing, and until 2020, if you see the evolution, always there is a virus, there is a fix, and again a new type, and again there is a new type of protecting mechanism. Just see the top and bottom of this below this line. If you see all the bottom lines, right? Different types of malwares or virus categories, what we have, and from the detection or defensive technologies, these are the innovations, sorry, what we have in place. So for viruses, they got invention of firewalls, and again the green card lottery, which means one of the biggest scammed or phishing kind of attack where they have performed among the users, right? And they got invention of stateful inspection, and then Melissa virus, I love you virus, anonymous font, WikiLeaks, Zeus Trojan. This is what we have discussed right now. And DDoS attacks or Stuxnet on SCADA systems. This works on the PLC and SCADA machines where automation or heavy industries work. And the stolen authentication information. So RSA, it's basically about two-factor authentication or authenticated devices. And the flame malwares, Dragonfly, Bitcoins, driverless cars hacking, and now IoT devices everywhere. So the gradual increase of offensive techniques and counterpart the defensive techniques, antiviruses, IPS, IDS, VPNs, UTMs, firewalls, right? NGFW, next generation firewalls. Okay, threat intelligence, threat prevention techniques, mobile security, cloud security, proactive hunting, everything in place. These are few forms of or types of malwares. So we have discussed about virus, worms, and Trojans. And what is a ransomware? I hope many of you have heard about it. At least not listened about it, but heard about it. Right? At least when you explore, you might get some news pop up that a major organization has hit by a ransomware. Right? Ransomwares are the other technique or the virus form of malware form of technique where an attacker completely takes handover or takes control of the victim's machine. And what do? They encrypt the complete device and they locks it. And they give only the account number and a message. If you pay X amount of $1 million, not less than $1 million, It's always about $1 million. Okay. If you can pay that amount through this particular account, then they will give you the decryption key. Then you will be able to access your data. So ransomware, they ask or they seek for the ransom, big amount of money. Okay. This is around some. I've been part of a couple of investigations of ransomware attacks, which is largely been popular in India since 2017 August. So WannaCry ransomware, the later version of non-PTR ransomware. So I've been part of that investigations. Okay. So what it does, it slowly steps into the organization through an email delivery. If a user responds to that, which means by clicking the links and allowing it to execute, it starts its activity to spread it and performs the actions on it, which means the encrypting the files. So it has to download the malware file, dependency file, and then it again completely encrypts. Okay. Whereas bots or botnets, bots are the infected machines. Okay. Bots are the virus infected machines. Botnets are group of these infected machines, and there is one particular server which we call as a command and control server, which instructs all these bots to communicate and ask these bots to perform an action, which means either to denial of service on the web server. Okay. Bot is an infected machine. You know zombies, right? That is the concept here. So the botnets are the network of infected machines where these machines are target on a particular web server or any other services what the control server instructs. Okay. And adwares, this is very well popular. Wherever we go or whatever we browse, we get these ads, right? So in the form of ads, we get the adwares. Okay. These keep popping up, right? Ads keep popping up. These are the adwares. So if I add some other malware to this adwares and execute to you, you click on the ad, you are victim of the malware. Got it? And the spywares. What are spywares? It should be easily understandable. Spying, you know, right? Especially girls should know this. Spying on your husbands or your friends. No? Definitely, spying is the same thing. It is a piece of virus software or the malware software sitting on your machine and looking at or watching at all your actions. Whether you open your browser, open your document, open your resumes, open your internet stuff or any of bank accounts, anything. So it spies at all your activities sitting in one corner of your machine. Okay. Rootkits are also the form of a malware where they actually work on the root level or the core level of the operating systems, the kernel level of the operating system, where it can damage or harm entire system and takes the control of entire system. You will definitely for ransomware and rootkits, right? If you have to either format for the rootkits, for the ransomware, you have to break your hard disk. If once it is a cyber attack or hit by a ransomware, you have to break your hard disk. You should not use it again. Okay, there will be the footprints of the attack. So this is the legal side and the procedure side where organizations look at. Okay. And the fileless malwares. What are these fileless malwares? So far we have seen file or other malwares, right? Fileless malwares. These are just the scripts what you write and just straight away execute on the victim's browser sessions as a response by performing the man-in-the-middle attacks. Okay, what is a man-in-the-middle attack? There is a server, there is a client. Client is nothing but the user who is seeking information from server. So the guy, the attacker who sits in between these two guys and tries to interpret these two guys, interpret the user's communication, manipulates it and responds it as a server. And he acts as a server. He acts as a server to the user and acts as a user to the server. Okay. Malvertising. So it is similar to this adverse, but completely about malwares, malware advertisements or malicious advertisements. You all might have received your messages. Congratulations, you have won $100 billion of Coca-Cola lottery, Samsung lottery, Hero Honda lottery, right? The same thing. Got it? These are different types of attacks. The malwares, what we have discussed so far until now, and the phishing. Any idea? You know what is phishing? You know phishing, right? The same thing if you do with your electronic or internet. E-phishing. E-phishing is that phishing. In phishing, we try to catch the fish, right? Here, users are the fish for the cyber criminals. Why? As we have seen in the stats slide, the primary or the top goal is to get the customer information, right? So where do we get the information from? By performing the phishing attacks. It can be any kind of phishing. Okay. So if I send an email to you, spoofing my email address, saying I am from X company, you have been hired or you have been shortlisted for the position of a software developer, and this is your compensation or this is your joining date. Kindly fill all your details here and submit for further process. If you are very keen and interested or job seeking guy, do you not believe it? Do you not believe it? You believe it, right? You believe it and you fill the form and you submit it. But actually, I'm not the hirer. I'm a cyber criminal. I reuse your data. I reuse your data or I'll sell your data to somebody else. So they can make their business. Okay. And this is one. If I again send you similar kind of thing with a link that your bank account or internet banking credential has been expired, kindly reset it, right, to avoid interruption of services from SBI or ICICI, etc. Do you click on that link? If you really have an SBI account and if you feel, oh, it's been very long, more than 3 months or 6 months after getting this UPIs, I haven't logged in, let me reset it. Right? That's the mindset. So if you go and try and click on the link and try to reset it, it will ask for old password and it will give you the new, it will ask for the new password, right? Now that you are giving the straight old password, which is currently working, and you give a new password, if you have, if you want to reset it again, you will use the same password in the original website, right? The attacker has got your old password and the new password. Straightly he can get into the account, right? That is why we have multi-factor authentication, which means we are getting the TOTPs, time-based OTPs, one-time passwords. The OTPs, what we are getting on our mobile numbers or email accounts, what verified accounts. Okay, of course, these are also being scammed, right? These are also being diverted by swapping your SIM technologies. Okay, so that is how different areas or different types of phishing, how the attackers perform. And the spear phishing. Spear phishing is something similar to the phishing only, but here is a targeted audience. Phishing has no audience, which means no targeted audience, but just they does it. But spear phishing has got a dedicated targeted audience. For example, I want to hack Amazon company. My target will be all the Amazon employees. That campaign, the phishing campaign, what I am delivering, the emails or type of emails what I am sending will be focused only towards Amazon users or Amazon employees, where I can get through the Amazon organization. So when you have a goal and attacking only a particular target, then that is called as a spear phishing. Okay, man in the middle attack and denial of service is what we have discussed. And SQL injection. What is SQL injection? SQL, the structured query language, right? Which actually works on database to extract DB information. So SQL injection is something executing your SQL queries on a database server to extract the information from the web server itself. Okay, if you know the web architecture, you will have a front end page and the back end connectivity to the database, right? So to fetch this backend database from the browser or the client page, you have some connectivity. You have to execute the SQL queries, right? If you give the application ID and submit, it has to search and give the details of that particular application, right? If I manipulate that query there in the web page and try to execute, it will give me the other data what I have written, right? SQL query. Okay, this is called SQL injection. So manipulating or executing SQL queries and injecting them on the database servers or on the database from the client side using the web browsers. Okay, that is called SQL injection. So DNS attack. DNS attack is domain name service. So DNS attack is also something where you can cause a denial of service. Okay, spoofing your domains. For example, you all might receive a lot of Facebook posts, right? You might circulate it in your WhatsApp group. And recently also we can see a lot of promotional things, links, play this game and win some rewards. So like that you might give, but actually are they genuine DNSs or domains? No, right? They are fake domains created for phishing or any other sources. So this is one of the other side of DNS attack for the DNS server, which means the entire domain services, your .com or .co, .in, all these domain services exist on the web server, right? Sorry, on a DNS server, right? So performing an attack on that DNS servers is called the DNS attack. Okay, now that we have heard a lot of or got a lot of information, right? I don't say we have learned. I'm damn sure we haven't learned, right? We just heard about the information, what I am saying. You might not be listening or you might not be learning, but you just heard the information what I'm delivering. I'm very sure about it. It's common with the online platform or else the introduction session, especially with cybersecurity. So now we have gone through a lot of information from the evolution of internet, its working, the data usage, different types of attacks, right? And the phases what the information travels. Now we have something called security controls. Okay, so this is how we align or we implement security controls to prevent organizations or informations or internet systems from cyber attacks. Okay, so these are the this is a matrix what we used. This is a physical control, the technical control, and the administrative controls. And similarly, what are the controls we use for preventing, and what are the controls what we use for detecting, and what is the control what we use for the corrective decision making. What is the corrective action? What is the corrective action? As and when incident happens, you just take a prompt or instinct action or response what you do, right? So that's what corrective action. Okay, so preventive controls, coming to physical controls, the preventive controls are fences, gates, and locks. You understand this, right? The normal compound fences, these are the controls. If an intruder has to come into our campus, right, or step into our organization, so these are the physical preventive controls to prevent them, so that they don't step in unauthorizedly or else without any permissions. So these are the preventive controls. And what are the physical detective controls? Which means we have established the preventive controls. If at all he bypasses and steps in, how are we going to detect it or detect the intruder? By using the CCTVs or surveillance cameras. Okay, and these two, I have got another thing what I can say is placing a dog in front of the gate. It is a preventive control as well as a detective control, right? If there is a dog, nobody tries to come in without a permission. First point. So there it is acting as a preventive control. If someone is trying to come inside, apart from or bypassing the dog again, it starts barking, saying that someone has come. So it is alerting the owners, right? So that is again the detective control. Okay. And the corrective action. What is the corrective action or the corrective control? You take over the physical controls when you have a preventive or when preventive is not worked or it has been bypassed and detection also bypassed. What do you have to do? You have to do the repair physical damages. By what does it mean? Bypassing means either he has broken the fences or cut the wires or done any damages, right? Has broken the locks or keys, everything. And reissue access cards. Here, access cards in the sense, so if you see the physical controls, this is also talking about the corporate access, your biometrics or the swipe cards, right? So these are also fall under the preventive or physical controls, where we have not added here, but we have only limited to very non or minimal components what we have. Okay, for your awareness. And coming to the technical point of view, the technical controls, we use firewalls, IPS, MFA, multi-factor authentication, and antivirus. These are the 4 factors where we use as a preventive control from the technical perspective. Okay. The same way, if it is being bypassed or if something is maliciously happening, how are we going to detect them? After prevention also, if is something getting bypassed, how are we going to detect it? By using the IDS systems. IDS means intrusion detection systems, intrusion detection systems or detection services. We have multiple products in the market. We can place any of these IDS devices so that we can enable detections. Okay, so there are other detection controls also where we can use as, but that you will not understand if I give all the input on the same time. And the honeypots. Honeypots are nothing but it's like a trap kind of thing. If any attacker is trying to bypass and reach to the original server or any of our core servers, instead of giving that server, this is something duplicate just to trap them. You might have seen in movies, right? Instead of if a hero tries to reach to villain, he will not be directly taken to villain. He will be taken to some other party, showing this guy is ultimate, right? So similarly, honeypot is a trap to deceive the attacker, so that we know these type of guys are bypassing still here and coming to our internal resources, so that we can understand the travel path, how this guy has been bypassed our security controls, and then immediately the security systems start working on or taking the corrective actions by fixing those gaps. Okay, so the corrective actions, what are the corrective actions? That is vulnerability patching, quarantining a virus, or rebooting a system. So if you patch it, you will need to reboot a system. Okay, what is vulnerability patching? Okay, vulnerability means it is a gap or a loophole, the security loophole in the information systems, whether it is a network security or whether it is in the application security, or else in the process also. Okay, the process where we follow to handle any security issues, right? If we have some gaps there, so that is called as a loophole. Okay, security gap, balahinata, the weakness. Okay, and quarantine a virus, which means removing the virus or isolating that virus from the actual system to the sandboxed environment, so that it may not spread into the system and damage it. Okay, and administrative controls. So administrative controls are something like the policies and procedures what management or what the organization's ultimate team, the top level management, takes the decision of. So keep a process oriented approach, right? That is what administrative controls. To prevent, what we do, we write all the policies, hiring and termination policies, separation of duties, data classification. Okay, hiring and termination, you know by the term. So separation of duties in the sense giving the exact roles and responsibilities of an employee by his designation. Okay, so whatever may be the decision, for example, if you are an office boy, what are your roles and responsibilities? We have to define and give them in a clear note that these are your duties, you have to do this. If you are a HR, these are your activities, this is the thing, and this is the level of access what you have, and this is how you have to move. And if you are a developer, this is the ultimate area where you have to do, and these are the systems where you have access, and this is the what you have to do. So by role itself and by the designation, we have to separate their duties very clearly. Okay, so that it will not damage the organization. See, if there is a finance or accounts officer, right, and there is an office guy. If there is an office boy has access to financial accounting room, what it happens? He can go anytime and he can come anytime, right? Similarly, along with an office guy, if Of course, if the office guy itself is a threat, means it's a danger, right? So that is the preventive control, where you are writing the separation of duties to classify them. And the data classification. Data classification is something about the data what we are dealing with. Before it gets affected, what we do is we classify the data based on the importance, okay, or sensitivity or confidentiality of its usage. If you are dealing with some business and client information, it's confidential thing. If you are dealing with employees' personal information and bank account details, this is confidential thing. If it is, or if you are dealing with any source code or program codes, right, or blueprints, these are all sensitive things. So you have to classify such kind of data, and you have to give role-based access. We call it as a RBAC, role-based access control, so that only the privileged users can get access through them. Okay. And to detect if something is going misused or something is being bypassed again. So in the administrative controls, how we can see is review the access rights. Who has the access? What type of rights does he have? He can see, or he can edit, or he can share. That is how we see. And also audit the logs and check for the unauthorized changes. So for each and every activity on your system, it generates a log. So these logs are collected in the logger devices, and from there we look at the auditing point of view. So what action have you done, and at what time, and how it has been carried out. Okay. And corrective. So if there is something damage again, so the immediate corrective actions will be implement a business continuity plan, that is to run the business, and the other side is have an incident response plan. Incident response plan comes into the picture only when there is a proper cyber attack, confirmed cyber attack. Okay, if there is a suspicious activity also, we immediately call upon for an incident response plan, and we organizations will have that BCP and IR plan. Okay, so business continuity plan is something if there is any natural disaster occurred, for example, due to heavy floods and rains, all your infrastructure got damaged, so you cannot operate the business from your site, right? In such conditions also, you should not disrupt the services, and you should make the services available for your customers or your resources. So to have the business run during these natural disasters also, you have to have a business continuity plan. So which means you should have two sets of sites, where site one has got a damage or affected by any of the natural disasters. Then you can access to site 2 immediately, where you can continue your business until the site 1 is again repaired or rebuilt. You can access through site 2. You will have the same set of information or same set of data what you are having through here, and from there also the identical set. Okay, so that is how the data centers or DR or BCP plan, we call that disaster recovery and business continuity plan. Okay, yeah, and that's it for the session for today. And tomorrow we will be talking about the CIA triad, which means confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and then the security intelligence. So these are the core components of cybersecurity where organizations structure or follow. So those we'll discuss in tomorrow's session. So until now, do we have any questions or any doubts? Anything as such about vulnerability management? Our session does not contain it, but in class, yes. Our workshop do not have that, but in classes, yes, I talk about vulnerability management and security operations center, and as well as IR, incident response. Actually, we have these as three different programs, but initially, who is enrolling for cyber security, I am giving vulnerability management and security operations with any of the SIM tools, be it Splunk, QRadar, or any of the open source tools. Ethical hacking is part of cyber security. Hacking is cyber counterpart of cyber security. Best cyber security institute చెప్పండి. This is a good question you are asking to me, Raju. ఈసీ కౌన్సిల్ యూనివర్సిటీ తీసుకోండి, కామ్షియా తీసుకోండి, శాన్స్ కాన్ఫరెన్సెస్ జరుగుతాయి తీసుకోండి, నల్కాన్ గోవాలో జరుగుతుంది వెళ్ళొచ్చు, అండ్ offensive security సెమినార్స్ ఆర్ క్లాసెస్, దీస్ ఆర్ ద బెస్ట్ అండి. నేను బెస్ట్ అని చెప్పను, అల్టిమేట్ ఇంకా.
Is there a disclaimer that EC Council is a bit costly?
EC Council
is a bit costly.
EC Council, among all what I have told, EC Council is the cheapest one.
Okay. So that approximately cost like 60,000, I think, for a certification.
No, not at all. It's around some
Yes.
35 to 40K.
No, it is like one of the sales associate called me and they said it is approximately 60, and from there you can give me a discount where it will come up to like 45.
Okay, to give the discount, they have told you 60K.
Yeah.
Okay. But actually, that depends on the certification cost and the one-on-one learning videos will be there. So from the EC Council, so there you will have it for minimum price starting from around some 35 to 40K. That's it.
Yeah, actually I applied for pen testing.
Oh, LPT.
Yeah, CPET.
CPE, okay, certified penetration tester.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have completed your hacking CH?
Yeah, I have completed CH, but I don't have a certification. I have a course on it.
Okay. So are you working on any of the security areas like red teaming or VAPT or something?
Yeah, I'm working on VAPT, but I'm as an intern. I'm not yet like into the job.
Okay. Good to hear. So you are working on which tools are you working on?
No, actually, this is my initial stage. I am working with Linux OS. I'm like doing information gathering for now. I have not gone into attacks.
Okay.
For information gathering, we are using like various tools. So using GitHub only, like Asset Finder. And one moment, I'll just like take the list of tools I'm using. So I'm using Nikto for like use for security headers checking.
Okay.
And, I'm using Asset Finders to enumerate subdomains.
Okay.
And, Sublister again to enumerate subdomains.
Do you have a pro tools any?
Pro tools in the sense?
Any professional tools?
No. I am using everything which is provided by Linux or Kali Linux only. Nothing else professional.
Okay. So it's your learning phase.
Yeah, it's my learning phase.
Okay. So currently you are working on what role you are working?
Intern pen tester.
Okay, intern pen tester. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Working with which company, if you don't mind?
It's a Hyderabad-based company. Actually, it is a healthcare company. I am working in IT of that healthcare company. It's called Kevin Global.
Okay. Kevin Global. Okay. Good. Someone is asking, is it required to learn any programming language for cybersecurity? I recommend yes. So earlier I used to say no, but now considering the evolution of technology, what we are having, right? So any professional who is willing to step into software, right, should definitely know a minimum of one particular programming language of your choice, whether it is Java, or whether it is Python or Go language or any other scripting languages, and also any of the databases like SQL. I definitely recommend one programming language and one SQL technology or a database technology, so that you can have a good amount of time where you can survive in the market. Else, right now we have many SOAR platforms, so they will definitely replace you very soon. So which means the automation and orchestration tools. If possible, explain each attack with an example. Yes, this is an workshop, so we are delivering a theory content. In the classroom, yes, we deliver it with an example, the practical guide.
Like, can you teach all tools and how it is performed and everything?
Which one?
You just said since it is a workshop, we only explain theoretically, but whereas in practical, we show all the attacks and everything. Like, can you teach us how to use the tools also, is it?
Yes, how to use the tools.
Like
So
in
I will
2020.
set up a simulator environment. I have a simulator environment where I ask or I assign the assignments to the candidates, and I ask them to I give a task and they have to perform that task. For example, if I wanted to hack any of the web server, so I'll ask them to perform a initial phase, what you are doing, the reconnaissance activity.
Okay.
So I'll give you the list of the tools, or else I'll ask them first not to use the tools and perform a passive reconnaissance or active reconnaissance without the tools.
Okay.
Cyber security is not compromise, not just about one particular tool. It is about cyber security is about a methodology where you have to learn about all the IT technologies like networking, application, the programming, and the database, everything. And the core part is you have to understand about the security and its weaknesses. So if you know the weaknesses, you have to look at the protection techniques, right? The offensive side and the defensive side. And what is the difference between programming language and a DBS? Programming language is something you write as a to execute some tasks, whereas the DB is a database where you store your information. So programming language will help you to automate your activities. Okay, to automate your activities or to invent something or create something new, some new feature to existing setup or environment. Whereas a DBMS you can add or you can play around with your data. Got it? So we are on time. Thank you everyone. Have a good day.
Yes, sir.